absolutely devastating builds for Walhart coming up. Greetings and salutations, killers. Thank you for coming back. I'm so excited to be able to share my findings with you on Walhart. If you are new around here, if you're not quite a killer yet, stick around. Thank you for coming by. I greatly appreciate it. You can feel free to drop me any kind of questions or comments you have down below about Walhart. Maybe you can ask me if you have the perfect IVs for him. Spoilers, it's always neutral. So let's get his digits. A really solid defense, a really amazing attack score. That speed you think wouldn't be bad, but it's terrible. It is absolutely terrible, and we're going to talk about how to fix that later. The worst stat, of course, is resistance, which means a mage could sneeze on him and he just dies. So we got that to work with. Let's see what he swings with. Wolfberg. Am I the only one around here that thinks about the DuckTales theme song whenever I say it? Because I really think about the DuckTales theme song when I say that. Anyway, if you have a legendary Ephraim, then this isn't new. But in addition to give you 3 defense just because, adding to that wonderful defense, whenever you charge ahead and you are outnumbered, you get a bonus 4 to all of your stats. This is an incredible weapon. It is going to be the focus of his power because it patches up so many things, and then it lets you basically then start to dominate with him. You're going to see that in all the builds we're buried to do. As far as the rest of his kit goes, he has Luna. Really nice for him, especially with the way that I'm going to recommend that you play him coming up. His A slot is just Granny Shield, so it's not really anything to write home about, although this is the second hero we've gotten that has had it, and they've both been Grand Hero Battle units, so that's a thing. And then to finish up, rounding off his kit, he has Chill Defense. A lot of people are already going to be foddering him off because of Chill Defense. That's a mistake. Walhart is an absolute brutal powerhouse, and if you just want to have like a little small generic build in order to get him going, here's what I'd recommend. Just throw Fury on him, give him Ignis, and then of course if you have the Quick Repose seal, use that. If you don't have the Quick Impulse seal, and you know what? Don't worry about it. Give him Bonfire instead. He needs to have that quicker turnaround. Unless you're in PvE content exclusively, then you know he'll be able to be just fine with Ignis. The idea here isn't really the idea for all of these builds coming forward, is that you stand there and you take a hit, and then you could go ahead and just deal back a lot of damage in the next round, and you're going to be able to keep doing it, guys. The Fury build's a little bit iffy because you're hemorrhaging hit points every time you engage, but outside of that, it's really not bad. So we're going to actually evaluate DPT for all of, for this build right now. DPT being Deltran's PvP threats. Link down the doobly-doo to get the link to the import list you can use for Arctic Silver Fox's combat sim, or if you just go to the Anti2 GitHub sim, it's already one of the drop downs, guys. It's amazing. I'm so happy it's there so that we could share this common experience of figuring out who is going to pound people's faces in. But this is going to be our base setup here. You're going to see the DPT going through here. Not all of them, but I mean, with this particular record, this is acceptable. Now, once again, this is if you take a hit and then retaliate on the next turn. This is abnormal for me doing calculations. I usually only do 1 round of combat. This is technically 2. Also, I'm not including the bonus from Chill Defense. I'll talk about all that at the end of the video, so if you want to know why I'm keeping Chill Defense here instead of saying Quick Riposte, hang tight. And then, of course, the other thing to note is I am assuming you are getting the bonus for Walberg. So this is our baseline. This is what we had to deal with. Before we go into any of the further evaluations, I do want to just give a quick shout out to the only player phase build I'm going to present to you. If you already have a Brave Roy, or maybe if you built up Elliewood in a certain way, I mean, this isn't really anything new or exciting, to be quite honest with you. Hello, Editing Patrick here. I just wanted to jump in here real quick and say that I'm not saying that he does exactly what Brave Roy and Elliewood would. He obviously fulfills a slightly different role, and he has more physical bulk. I just wanted to say that if you already have him, it's not a big change. Other than the color matchups, I don't see him doing that much different. But hey, if you disagree with me, let me know. It's functional. It works. I mean, anytime you get Gale Force going off, it's wonderful, and you could just buff the stats so hard whenever you have all the horsey buffs around. It's quite amazing. I mean, you're talking about hitting before merges like 70 attack. So now let's go ahead and go into the rest of these builds, and I'm going to start to explain to you why this is the way I want you to play it. So this first setup that we've got here is a distant counter build. Everybody wanted to know why distant counter wasn't on Wahlberg, and so here. This is how he performs, and he performs rather well. After the first hit and then the retaliation, you're talking about 28 wins on the DPT. I'm showing you the differential here for the wins and the losses, not the complete set. And you can see we're actually winning against a fair number of people, which we really want to. I'm usually not one to say, yeah, we need to get a bunch of other heroes on here that are opposite color, but Winter Tharja is here, and I appreciate that so much. I hate Winter Tharja. You know, there's nothing normal about you, and your only armor is the fact that everybody's staring at your chest because you have that little bulge there because you took a cup that's smaller than what you need. Give that thing back to Lucina or Cordelia, or whoever you took it from. Not making any friends here. Quit glaring at me like that. I gave your 4-star butt Gale Force. What more do you want? So as I said earlier, we're not counting the chill defense bonus in this at all. So you'd be thinking probably like, well, you know, why don't I just go ahead and substitute that for quick riposte? And you'll get a couple more wins, but first you're going to get a lot more wins just by having chill defense active, okay? Like a lot more. So it's worth keeping. The other thing is one horsey buff, okay? You know what? Even then, you're going to see something here in a moment. Really, you just want more speed. Okay, guys? If you get a +6 speed bonus, your Walhart's going to be in business. He's going to tank a lot better. There's going to be some units he can double that are very slow, and those are the ones you want him blocking anyway, because they tend to always hit against defense instead of resistance. I mean, he's amazing. So go ahead and just buff out his speed if you don't just have a whole horsies on him. If you do have a whole horsies on him, though, at +2, he can actually beat... he keeps almost the exact same DPT if he's going up against +10 units. He loses against Fa and somebody else I forget because they're not really that important, but they could be troublesome. That's what you're talking about losing to, is basically green dragons at that point. So this guy's a beast. There's no reason for you to get rid of him for chill defense fodder. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and keep going. Speaking about compensating for speed, let's take a look at this. Yes, I know, Darting Stance. That's a very premium skill at the moment. However, listen to me. You get a really good matchup with it. You get technically a better matchup than with Distant Counter. It's so much fun, and it yields so many dividends just because of that speed that's built in. And you know what? If you give them the horsey buff on top of this, he's gone to the races. It's going to be devastation. People mentioned to saying that, you know, you can go ahead and put Fierce Stance here. There's a lot more access to Fierce Stance, and if you're like me and have a unit that has terrible IVs with Fierce Stance, maybe this is what you want to do with it. It's going to get you about 25 wins on the DPT. The win counts are acceptable, nothing really to brag about. It's a little more stable than keeping Fury on there because you're not hemorrhaging the hit points. You're going to be able to retaliate a little bit better. So overall, it's something to recommend, but it's not so powerful that I'm saying that you have to do it, unlike Darting Stance, which really is just incredible. If you don't have any of those options, then the last thing that I want to show you guys is just a double close defense build. And this one, it looks mediocre, but honestly, this has the most longevity outside of, if you give them a horsey buff, this has the most longevity out of all the builds that I have shown you here today. So this one is last in the list because it's technically underperforming numerically, but the hit points he has left over after initiations is great. And if you're worried about him getting doubled, just a quick little speed bump is going to really rectify that. So if you have dual distant close counter that you can put on him, that is wonderful. It's going to go ahead and solidify him as a bulwark on your horsey teams, on your mixed teams. Really, he's not meant to work with anybody. He's supposed to go out there. So the chill defense that you're keeping on there, instead of giving him quick riposte, is going to really open up a lot of things. And that way, you'll be able to go onto the battlefield. He's going to be supporting everybody without having to be near anybody. And that's just going to pay off so well. So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys super excited for Walhart? Because I'm super excited for Walhart. I am totally +2 merging this guy, and I'm excited to get more merges for him in the future. Let me know down in the comments, and do me a favor, if you like your Fire Emblem information hot and fresh like Grandma's cookies, hit that subscribe button. My name is Deltran. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate all of you, and until next time, take it easy.